Hi, fourth grade, and welcome back to Math with Mr. G. I'm here for my students at the Syracuse Academy of Citizenship. Today we're going to be going over some more of our fifth grade work as we look forward, for those of us that are still participating, into some beginning of the year work for next year so we can get a little ahead and start kind of previewing a bit of what's to be expected next year. So I have here our lesson. I have a modified place value chart and our objective to start. So our objective today is to use exponents, this is a new word for a lot of us, to name place value units. So we're going to see how we can use exponents. We're going to break that down and we're going to define what an exponent is. First, let's look how we can find these numbers. I got 10, 100, and 1,000 through multiples of 10. So to find 10 with multiplying by 10, I only need to multiply times 1. Pretty simple. Stick with me. To find 100, I need to take 10 and I multiply it times 10. 10 times 10 is 100. And if I want to find 1,000 with multiples, right, if I'm multiplying just by 10, I'm going to do, hopefully it'll fit in here, 10 times 10 times 10. And we're going to look how this breaks down here, especially, because this really is going to what drives us into the exponent conversation. So I've broken this down here where we've gotten already 10 equals 10 times 1, but another way to write that is 10, here's the exponent, which says how many times to use that number in a multiplication. 10 to the first power. There's 110 here, and it's not because we're multiplying times 1. And you'll see that more closely here in this next one. 10 times 10 as an exponent is 10 to the second power. Because there's 1, 2 10s. You're multiplying 10 times 10. There's 2 of them there. So as we had here, 1,000, as we noticed up here, 1,000 is really 10 times 10 times 10. If I really want to break that down, I'll draw an arrow here. 10 times 10 equals 100. Multiply it times 10 again, because I'm using all 3 of those 10s. I get 1,000. Let me draw this 0 just a little better. I'll use marker here. And you can just check off how many 10s there are. So there's 1 10, 2 10s, 3 10s. So there's 3 10s there, which tells me that 1,000 written as an exponent with 10 is 10 to the third power. And 10 to the third power takes us into the thousands place. 10 to the second power takes us to the hundredths place. And 10 to the first, which is just 10, takes us into the tens place. You could do this forever as numbers go on. You could have 10 to the 30th place. You just multiply 10 30 times. And here you can just follow the 0 trick I taught you before, as you notice, because for instance, 10 to the third power, there's 3 10s, but you can also notice that there's 1, 2, 3 zeros. Same thing, 10 to the second power, there's 1, 2, 0. So if I wanted to do 10 to the 30th power, I would just write a 1, and I'd count out 30 zeros after it, which might be kind of exhausting to do, but that's a really good trick if you ever get stuck with having to break down exponents into these base numbers on the Zearn lesson. Like I said, I'm going to include a math antics video with this lesson to kind of break down how exponents are used not just with tens, but with other numbers as we move forward. Exponents are, like I say all the time with math, it just takes practice and a little bit of understanding and development. I look forward to seeing your work, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.